The sky above Velner 9 burned red. Clouds twisted like smoke from a dying fire, and lightning flashed across the sky in strange colors. The air was heavy. The ground trembled. And from above, a human rescue ship broke through the storm. Inside the cockpit, Captain Darrell Rourke gripped the controls tightly. Sweat ran down his face. The ship shook violently as winds howled around it. The warning lights blinked red, but he didn't stop. "Hold together, old girl," he whispered to the ship. "Just a little more." He wasn't supposed to be here. Velner 9 was on the no-entry list. The planet was known for deadly storms, acid rain, and strange life forms. But 2 days ago, a strange signal reached Earth. It came from a crashed alien shuttle. The message was broken, but one word repeated again and again. "Child, child, child." No one volunteered to go. It was suicide, the other captain said. Even the Galactic Council refused to send help. But Rourke had lost his daughter 5 years ago. The voice in the message had sounded too much like hers. The ship crashed hard. Metal screamed. The wings tore against jagged rocks. Sparks flew as the rescue craft skidded through mud and trees, finally slamming into the base of a cliff. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then Rourke moved. His shoulder hurt. His lip was bleeding. But he was alive. He grabbed his pack, opened the door, and stepped into the unknown. "Velner 9, he muttered. "Hell with trees." The world around him was dark and twisted. Trees grew in crooked shapes, their bark pulsing like they were alive. The sky above was filled with thick black clouds. Strange growls echoed in the distance. He turned on his scanner. It beeped once, twice, then picked up a signal, still active. 50 meters ahead. Rourke moved quickly, pushing through thick vines and strange plants. A low mist crept across the forest floor. He kept his weapon ready, but everything was silent, too silent. Then he heard it. A soft sob. It was small and weak, like a child crying in fear. He pushed aside a bush and froze. There, half buried in the wreckage of a silver alien pod, was a small figure. Big black eyes, pale skin, thin arms covered in tiny cuts. The alien child looked up at him, eyes wide with fear. "Hey," Rourke said gently, lowering his weapon. "It's okay. I'm here to help." The child blinked, then tried to move but cried out in pain. Rourke ran forward. "Don't move too much. You're hurt." He checked the child's body. One leg was broken. The other had burns, but it was alive. "What's your name?" he asked softly. The child shook its head. "No name, just Thierry." "All right, Thierry," he said, picking up the child slowly. "I'm Rourke. Let's get you out of here." He wrapped the child in his jacket and carried it back to the crash site. Night was falling fast. The air turned colder, and the sounds in the forest changed. Strange howls began to echo. The ground started to rumble, and Thierry's eyes widened. "With terror. They come at night," Thierry whispered. "They smell fear." "Who?" Rourke asked, but the child only clung to him tighter. He didn't waste time. He gathered what little supplies he could carry and dragged a broken wing piece to form a shelter near the cliff wall. Then he lit a small fire. Thierry sat close to the flames, still shaking. "I saw them," Thierry whispered, "when our ship crashed. They came from the trees, no eyes, only teeth." "You're safe now," Rourke said, loading his rifle. "They won't get you." "Not while I'm here." Suddenly, something moved in the dark. Rourke froze. He scanned the trees with his flashlight. Nothing. Then, again, a shadow, moving fast. He fired a warning shot into the trees. The sound echoed. Silence followed. Thierry looked at him. "That was a mistake." "What do you mean?" "They don't like loud noises," Thierry said. "It makes them hungry." Rourke looked out at the woods. His instincts screamed something was wrong. Then something screamed back. A long, high-pitched sound echoed through the forest. It wasn't human. It wasn't anything he had ever heard. He jumped to his feet and aimed. His rifle, "Stay behind me," but nothing attacked. Not yet. He knew they were close. All night, they didn't sleep. Strange shapes circled their little camp. Sometimes they saw eyes, sometimes just teeth, but they didn't come closer. Not while the fire burned. By dawn, Rourke's hands were shaking from exhaustion. Thierry had fallen asleep against his chest. Then, the worst happened. Rain. Not normal rain, acid rain. It sizzled against the metal of the ship. Trees hissed and melted where drops hit them. The fire died quickly. Rourke grabbed a tarp and threw it over them, pulling Thierry into the shelter. "Have to fix the beacon," he muttered. "We need help." He checked the small emergency beacon. It was damaged in the crash, but he could try using pieces from the alien pod. Rourke handed Thierry some food. "Stay here. I won't go far." Thierry grabbed his hand. "Don't leave. It's not safe. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Promise." He ran through the trees, avoiding the falling acid drops. At the alien pod, he tore out wires and metal plates, then turned back. That's when he heard it again. Scream, "Thierry!" He dropped everything and ran. Back at the camp, the tarp was torn. Thierry was gone. Claw marks were carved into the dirt, and something was breathing heavily behind the trees. Rourke didn't think. He chased the trail. Blood drops, broken branches, signs of dragging. He ran for nearly 10 minutes, deeper into the woods. Then he saw it. A creature as tall as a truck, thin, black skin. Long arms ending in claws. No eyes, only a wide mouth. Full of long, sharp teeth. It held Thierry in one hand. "Put the kid down." Rourke shouted. The beast hissed and turned. Rourke fired. The bullet hit its shoulder. It shrieked, dropped Thierry, and charged. Rourke fired again. Nothing. Then the gun jammed. The monster leaped at him. He dove to the side and stabbed it with his knife. Deep into the neck. The creature roared and fell back. Blood like tar sprayed across the trees. Rourke grabbed Thierry and ran. Behind them, the creature screeched. More howls followed. There were more of them coming. He reached a small cave and crawled inside with Thierry. Both of them were bleeding. Thierry was crying softly. Rourke pulled the knife from his belt, checked his last flare, and said, "We're not going to die here, you hear me? We're going home." Suddenly Thierry's skin began to glow softly. What is that?" "Rourke," whispered. I looked up, eyes shining with light. I can stop them, just once." "You can what?" "My people, we had powers. Long ago. I was taught never to use them. But I don't want to die." "I don't want you to die either." Thierry stood, weak but glowing brighter. The light spread across the cave walls. The shadows outside screamed as the glow touched them. The sound was terrible. Then silence. Thierry collapsed in Rourke's arms. "You saved us," he whispered. "You're stronger than anyone I've ever met." Rourke activated the beacon again, using the parts he grabbed earlier. A weak signal went out. They waited in the cave for hours. Then a voice came through the radio. "This is Scout Vessel Myra. We see your signal. Extraction in 20 minutes. Rourke smiled. "You hear that, Thierry? We're going home." A ship landed near the cave. 2 alien soldiers came out, weapons raised. But when they saw Thierry and the injured human, they lowered them slowly. "You saved the child?" one asked. "I didn't come here to fail," Rourke said, coughing. Back in orbit, the news spread like wildfire. A human had risked everything to save one alien child. He fought monsters, he walked through acid storms. And he didn't run. They had thought humans were soft. Now they knew better. On Earth, Thierry was welcomed as family. And across the galaxy, a new message began to spread quietly, but with growing respect. Humans are not weak. They protect their own, even if it kills them. Thick white fog covered the dark forest like a heavy blanket. The trees stood like ghosts, silent and still. Every step felt louder. Every breath felt dangerous. Captain Darrell Rourke held Thierry tightly in his arms as they moved through the strange, alien jungle. The child's body was small and cold, still shaking after the attack. Rourke's shoulder ached from the crash. His legs were weak. But he kept walking. "We need to find higher ground," he whispered. "We need a place to rest, somewhere safe." Thierry's large black eyes opened slowly. "Nowhere is safe. Not while the fog is here." The words chilled him more than the air. Earlier, Rourke had fought a monster, something from nightmares. No eyes, long claws, a mouth full of teeth. It had taken Thierry. It almost killed them both. But Thierry's strange inner light had burned it back. Now, the fog was back. Thicker, colder, and he could feel something watching. They found a large tree with broken roots sticking out like arms. A small hollow beneath offered shelter. Rourke crawled inside with Thierry and wrapped them both in a thermal blanket. He kept his rifle close. As night fell, the world became still. "Too still. Tell me more about the creatures," Rourke said. "What are they? Where did they come from?" Thierry didn't speak for a moment. Then, in a low voice, said, "They're the Fogborn. They were here before even my people. They don't see like others. They feel thoughts, fear, pain. They hunt feelings." Rourke frowned. "So, if we're afraid, they come closer?" Thierry nodded. "Then I need you to be brave." "Now," he said. "Can you do that?" The child tried to smile, but fear still clung to their face. "I will try." Suddenly, the fog shifted outside. Something moved slow and careful. Rourke pointed his flashlight through the trees. Nothing. But then, something scraped the ground. A soft dragging sound. Then silence again. Rourke raised his rifle. "Stay here," he whispered. "No matter what happens, don't move." He stepped out slowly, boots crunching on leaves. The fog swallowed him instantly. Visibility dropped to nothing. He turned slowly, scanning with his light. His heart beat fast. He could hear it. The sound of breathing. Heavy, deep, not human. Then he saw something, barely a shape in the fog. Tall, slender, still. He aimed the rifle. "Show yourself." The shape didn't move. Then it tilted its head. Rourke fired. The sound exploded through the trees. The shape fell back, but a second one appeared. Then a third. "Oh no," he muttered, backing away. From behind him, he heard Thierry scream. He turned and ran. Back at the tree. The fog had thickened into a wall. Rourke dropped to his knees and crawled into the hollow. Thierry was curled up, glowing faintly. "They're here," the child whispered. All around us, Rourke looked out. Figures moved through the fog, slow, creeping shadows. He had only 2 bullets left. "We can't fight them," he said. "We have to trick them." Thierry opened their eyes. "With what?" "Silence," Rourke said, "and fire." He reached into his pack and pulled out 2 flares. He lit one and threw it far into the woods. The red light flared brightly, and a deep howl followed. The shapes turned toward the light. Rourke lit the second and waved it. Behind the hollow, the monsters began to circle. One moved closer than the rest, sniffing the ground. "They're tracking." "U.S.," Rourke whispered. Then he remembered Thierry's words. "They hunt feelings. Think of something happy," he said softly. "Don't feel fear. I'm scared." "So am I, but we can't let them feel it. Try to remember something good, something warm." Thierry closed their eyes. "My mother. She used to sing when I was afraid." Then hear her voice. Rourke took a deep breath and remembered his daughter, her smile, her laugh, the way she ran to him after school. The air changed slightly. The fog pulsed. One of the monsters paused, then tilted its head. Suddenly, a soft voice echoed from Thierry. A small song. Broken words in an alien language, sung like a lullaby. The creature shrieked. Then another, The fog swirled faster, twisting like wind. The monsters turned. Confused. "They can't hear us anymore," Thierry said, surprised. "The song, it hides our thoughts." "Keep singing," Rourke whispered. But it wasn't enough. One of the fogborns stepped into the light. Its skin shimmered. Its claws clicked. "And it looked right at them. It sees us," Rourke said, raising his rifle. He fired his last 2 bullets. The shots hit the creature's chest, but it didn't fall. It roared and rushed forward. Rourke threw himself over. Thierry, ready to die. Then, suddenly there was a blast of bright light. The creature screamed and vanished into the trees. Rourke turned to see the source. Thierry glowed again, brighter than before. The song had changed. It was louder, stronger. The fogborn all turned and fled into the mist. Shrieking. The fog itself seemed to run away with them. Silence returned. Thierry collapsed. Rourke caught the child, heart racing. "Thierry, stay with me." The glow faded. The child was still breathing, but weak. "You saved us again," Rourke said softly. Thierry opened one eye and smiled. "I didn't know I could. But you helped me believe." For the rest of the night, nothing came back. At sunrise, the fog was gone. Birds, strange and bright, began to sing. Rourke carried Thierry out of the hollow and started walking. His legs hurt. His mind was tired. But he had a plan. There was an old signal tower nearby, maybe 10 kilometers west. It was built long ago by alien explorers, now abandoned. "If we reach that tower," he said, "we can call for help." Thierry nodded slowly. As they walked, the forest seemed different, less threatening. The trees were still strange, but the danger had passed. But just as they began to feel hope, a voice crackled through Rourke's broken communicator. "This is Empire. Scout ship Cadora. We received your emergency signal. Stay in position. We are approaching." Rourke's face lit up. "Thierry, they're coming." He found a clearing and set off a smoke flare. Minutes later, the sky above opened. A sleek silver ship descended. Through the clouds. Alien soldiers stepped out, weapons raised, but paused when they saw the human and the child. "You're the one who sent the signal?" an officer asked. Rourke nodded. "The kid needs help." The alien frowned. "You came to this world alone, to save one child?" "I did." The officer looked confused. Then he smiled. "You're insane." Rourke gave a tired laugh. "Probably." They took Thierry inside the ship and gave medical care. Rourke followed, finally sitting down after days of running and fear. The officer walked over. "I've never seen a human like you." Rourke looked at Thierry, sleeping peacefully now. "You probably haven't seen a child like that either." The officer nodded. "True, this one has ancient blood, very rare, powerful." "Then protect them," Rourke said, "like I did." The alien extended a hand. "You have my word." Back on the ship, as it flew away from Velner 9, Rourke looked out the window. The forest below was quiet again. The fog was gone, but the memory of what he saw, the monsters, the fear, the glowing light of hope, would never leave him. He turned back to Thierry, who was resting with a smile. They were safe now. And across the galaxy, another story of human bravery began to spread. A story of a man who walked through fog, faced monsters, and proved that humans were far more than anyone believed. The sky above Velner 9 turned black again, not from clouds, not from nightfall, but from the thick, creeping fog that always brought death. Captain Rourke knew the signs. He sat beside a weak fire inside the ruins of an old stone structure, what once might have been a shrine. Next to him lay Thierry, wrapped in a silver blanket, breathing slowly. The child had not spoken since the rescue. Too tired, too drained. Outside, the forest was silent. No birds, no wind. Just fog, thick and heavy, pressing against the stones like a living thing. Rourke checked his rifle. Empty. He had one flare left, half a ration of food, and a broken comms unit. The Empire scouts who helped earlier had left called away by a higher order. They promised to return, but no one did. Now, they were alone again. "Tiri," Rourke said gently, touching the child's shoulder. "Are you awake?" The alien child stirred. Their large black eyes opened slightly. "We're still here?" Tiri asked, voice dry. "Still here," he answered. "Storm's coming again." Tiri sat up slowly. "The Fogborn?" Maybe. "Worse." The fire crackled softly. Rourke leaned back against the cold wall. He was exhausted. Every muscle in his body ached. Every part of his mind screamed for sleep. But he couldn't rest. Not yet. Tiri looked around. "Where are we?" "Some kind of temple, maybe built by your people. Or someone before them." The walls were covered in strange carvings, spirals, stars, long thin creatures with glowing centers. Rourke didn't understand them, but Tiri stared at the patterns in silence. Then the child said something strange. "This place remembers." Rourke looked at them. "What do you mean?" Tiri touched the wall gently. "I feel old voices, echoes. They don't speak with sound. They speak with light." Before he could ask more, a sound came from outside, a low, deep groan, like something huge dragging its body across the ground. Rourke stood, grabbing the flare. "Stay here." He moved toward the entrance, slow and careful. The fog outside had changed. It was thicker, glowing faintly. Shapes moved just beyond the trees. He stepped out a little. "Show yourselves." He shouted. No answer. Then a soft laugh. It echoed from all directions, high, cold, and wrong. Rourke stepped back. "This isn't Fogborn." He turned, but the entrance was gone. The mist had moved. Everything was shifting. He ran back, but now the shrine looked different. The walls changed shape. The symbols glowed faintly. And Tiri stood in the middle, eyes wide. "What's happening?" Rourke asked. Tiri didn't speak. They raised a hand and the wall behind them opened like a door made of smoke. Without a word, Tiri stepped inside. Rourke hesitated, then followed. Inside was a chamber lit by soft blue light. In the center floated a small orb spinning slowly, casting images into the air. Tiri walked up to it. "It's a memory core," they whispered. "From before the war, before the Fogborn." "War?" Rourke asked. Tiri nodded. "Long ago my people lived here. We were not strong, but we were wise. We found things deep in the planet, things that could see thoughts, shape dreams. But the Fogborn, they were born from it, born to consume emotion." The orb showed cities, bright and shining, then burning, screams, darkness, the fog rising. "They destroyed everything," Tiri said, "and we ran." Suddenly, the images faded. The orb spun faster. Then it showed something new. A human, standing in fire, holding a child. It was him. Rourke stared at it, stunned. "That's me." Tiri touched the orb, and a voice echoed through the room. "He carries fire. The fire that resists the fog. Protect the carrier." The walls began to shake. "Time to go," Rourke said quickly, pulling Tiri back toward the entrance. But the fog was already inside. Shapes formed tall, thin, faceless. The Fogborn. Rourke pulled the flare. "Back off." They didn't move. One step forward. Then it spoke. Its voice was like breaking glass. "You burn bright, human. You wake the old memories." "I'm not here to wake anything," Rourke said, lighting the flare. "I'm just here to protect the kid. The child is marked, chosen. We must feed." The fog moved like fingers toward Tiri. Rourke threw the flare. Light burst across the chamber. The Fogborn screamed and fell back. Tiri dropped to the ground, clutching their head. "It hurts. They're inside my mind." Rourke dropped beside them. "Stay with me, kid. Focus on me, not them." He grabbed Tiri's hand. "Listen to me. Remember the song, the one your mother sang. Tiri began humming softly. The sound trembled, but it grew stronger. The fog hissed. The shadows pulled back, then. The orb glowed again, blinding light. The Fogborn screamed and vanished. The chamber returned to silence. Tiri collapsed. Rourke held them close. It's okay, it's over. But it wasn't. The orb now showed something else. Dozens of Fogborn, moving through the forest. They're gathering, Tiri whispered weakly. Coming for us. Then we make a stand, Rourke said. He carried Tiri back to the top of the shrine. From there, he could see the mist moving in all directions. He set up the last flare. He pulled out broken power cells from his suit and wired them together. A spark jumped. If I can make a small blast, he said, maybe I can burn the fog. Tiri sat beside him. You are brave. Rourke looked at the child. I lost someone once. My daughter. Couldn't protect her. I won't make that mistake again. Tiri smiled faintly. You already haven't. Suddenly, a sound roared from the trees. The Fogborn had arrived. Dozens of them. Crawling, gliding, floating over the ground. Rourke stood tall. This is it. He held the flare high and waited. But before he threw it, something strange happened. The fog pulled back, not from the light, but from a sound. Engines. A new ship appeared overhead. Earth's colors. A human warship. Rourke laughed. Took them long enough. The ship opened fire, beams of energy cutting through the trees. The Fogborn screamed and ran. A shuttle dropped down. Human soldiers jumped out and rushed toward him. Captain Rourke? One asked. We're here to get you and the kid out. Rourke picked up Tiri. You're damn right you are. Inside the shuttle, warm lights surrounded them. Medics checked Tiri. One soldier handed Rourke water. You sent a distress signal, the soldier said. We almost didn't believe it. Everyone thought Velner 9 was dead. It almost was, Rourke said. But there's life here. Old. Life. Powerful. And something else. What's that? Rourke looked at Tiri, now sleeping peacefully. Hope. As the shuttle rose above the trees, he looked down one last time. The fog still lingered, but it was pulling away. Back into the deep. Back where it belonged. And he knew whatever came next, he wouldn't be facing it alone. The wind had teeth. It howled through the trees like a living thing, sharp and full of hunger. Rain hit the forest like bullets, and the sky above Velner 9 lit up with flashes of green lightning. Captain Darrell Rourke tightened the grip on his coat as he carried Tiri through the pouring storm. The alien child was barely awake. Their skin glowed faintly, but the color was dimmer, now like a dying ember. Rourke's boots sank into the soft, wet ground with every step, and the storm only grew worse behind them. Hold on, kid, he muttered. We're not far now, just a little more. Tiri mumbled something he couldn't hear. Ahead, through the curtains of rain and fog, the outline of an old tower appeared, a tall broken thing made of dark stone and metal, swallowed halfway by vines and time. It leaned slightly, but it stood strong against the wind. Rourke reached the base and kicked open the door. It creaked loudly, like a scream in the dark. Inside, the air was dry, but thick with dust. The structure had clearly been abandoned long ago, but it was strong. Thick walls. Reinforced metal beams. A perfect shelter for the night. He laid Tiri on an old platform and took off his jacket to wrap around them. Then he dug through his pack, pulled out a ration bar, and held it close. Come on, Tiri, he whispered. You have to eat something. Tiri opened one eye. I'm trying. The child took a few small bites. It wasn't much, but it was enough to give them a little strength. Rourke looked around. The tower was built with alien tech, maybe from the first explorers. He noticed old consoles, half-broken screens, and dead lights. But in the center of the room stood something strange, an ancient pedestal with glowing lines, shaped like claws pointing upward. Thierry slowly sat up and stared at it. "This is not just a tower," they said weakly. "It's a warning post." "A warning for what?" Before the child could answer, a loud crack exploded above them. The ceiling shook. A deep roar followed, then silence. Rourke stood and aimed. His rifle at the ceiling. That wasn't thunder. A moment later, the walls trembled again. This time, there was a scream. Not Human Dot, and not alone. Thierry stood, eyes wide with fear. "They're here, the real Fogborn, not scouts. The pack." Rourke's stomach turned. "How many?" Thierry swallowed. "Dozens, maybe more." Rourke moved to the broken console and began pushing buttons. Lights flickered. A few screens buzzed. "Come." Please work." Finally, a weak signal sparked to life. It was barely strong enough to reach nearby satellites. He activated the distress beacon. A single light blinked red. Thierry looked at him. "They won't make it in time." "I know," he said. "That's why we're going to make a trap." Thierry stepped toward the strange pedestal. The lines on it started glowing brighter as they got closer. "I think this tower was meant to fight the Fogborn," the child said. Maybe it still can." Rourke turned. "Can you activate it?" "Maybe, but I'll need time, and I'll need protection." He checked his rifle. Still had power. "Not much, but enough for a few bursts. I'll give you that." The wind screamed outside. Then came a sound like claws, scratching metal. Rourke moved to the door and looked out. Dozens of shapes were crawling through the fog. Tall, thin bodies. Sharp teeth. No eyes. They moved together like a wave, a storm of teeth. "Lock this door," he told Thierry, "and don't stop working." He stepped outside and raised his rifle. The first Fogborn rushed him. He fired once blast to the chest. It fell, screeching, but 10 more followed. He fell back inside, slamming the door shut. "They're too many." He shouted. Thierry knelt beside the pedestal, hands glowing faintly. "I'm close. Just keep them away." The walls shook again, claws tore through the door. Rourke grabbed a metal pipe and swung hard as the first creature broke through. The impact cracked its jaw, but it kept coming. He shot twice, missed once, hit once. The beast fell. Then another came through the ceiling. Rourke rolled and stabbed it with his knife, twisting until black blood sprayed across the floor. Thierry screamed. The pedestal was fully glowing now. Symbols hovered in the air. "I need one more." "Minute." Rourke kicked the next Fogborn back, then looked around. They were everywhere, crawling from vents, falling from the roof, bursting through the walls. He ran to Thierry and stood between them and the horde. "You're not taking this kid." He growled. The Fogborn circled him. Dozens now, their teeth dripped. Their claws twitched. One stepped forward and hissed. "You carry light," it said in a cold, broken voice. "But light dies. All things do." "Not tonight," Rourke replied. Thierry screamed something in there. Own language. The pedestal exploded with blue light. A shockwave burst through the room, blasting every Fogborn back. They screeched and slammed into the walls. Some caught fire. Others vanished into dust. The storm outside was sucked into the sky like smoke in reverse. The world fell silent. Rourke collapsed to one knee, breathing hard. He looked around. The Fogborn were gone. The pedestal dimmed. Thierry stood, glowing fully again, but now with golden light. "You did it," Rourke said. I looked at him. "We did it." Suddenly, a voice came from the broken console. "This is Earth Vessel Trinity. We received your signal. Are you alive?" Rourke grabbed the mic. "Barely. 2 survivors. 1 human. 1 alien child. Hold position. Extraction team incoming in 20 minutes. He leaned back and closed his eyes. "We're going home." "Kid." Thierry sat beside him. "Home, I like that word." Later, the shuttle arrived. Human soldiers and medics rushed in. Shocked by the damage, they scanned the area, counted over 30 dead Fogborn. and found Rourke sitting on the floor with Thierry asleep beside him. "You did all this?" one soldier asked. "Not alone," Rourke answered. "The kid saved us." Thierry woke briefly as they were carried into the ship. "Is it over?" Rourke smiled. "For now." As they flew away, the old tower stood tall, glowing faintly in the dark forest. A reminder that even on the deadliest world, even in the worst storm, one human, one child, and one promise could hold the line. Across the stars, their story would spread like fire, and no one would ever call humans weak again. The cold lights of the Empire's command tower flickered as Captain Rourke sat quietly in a small room. The hum of machines filled the air, and outside the window, distant stars burned cold and bright. Across the galaxy, the Empire was watching. Rourke had returned to Earth with Thierry, the alien child whose survival had shaken many beliefs. The Galactic Empire's leaders didn't like what they heard. A human had braved death worlds, fought monsters, and saved an alien with strange powers. It was a message no one wanted to admit. The room door slid open. A tall figure stepped inside. His uniform was decorated with stars and medals, the unmistakable mark of Commander Voss. "Captain Rourke," Voss said coldly, "your actions on Velner 9 have caused quite a stir." Rourke met his gaze. "I did what anyone would do, save a life." Voss smiled thinly. "Most would have left that child to die. The Empire has rules about contact, about interference. And rules don't save lives," Rourke said. Voss sighed. "You're lucky the Council saw your signal. They want that child alive, but under their control." Rourke frowned. "Thierry isn't a weapon." "No one said they would be kind," Voss replied. "We need to understand the powers that child has. If the Fogborn threat returns, we need to be ready." Rourke's jaw tightened. "And what if the real threat is the Empire itself?" Voss's eyes narrowed. "Watch your words, Captain. You serve the Empire." The door closed behind him. Rourke looked at Thierry, lying quietly on the bed. The child's skin still glowed faintly. Their breathing was steady now, but the trauma was not over. "Don't let them scare you." "Kid," Rourke whispered. Thierry's eye opened. "Their eyes. Why do they want me?" "To control you," Rourke said. "But we won't let that happen." Days passed. Scientists and soldiers surrounded Thierry, running tests, taking notes. They asked questions in strange languages. Some seemed curious, others cold and distant. One scientist, Dr. Nira, approached Rourke quietly one evening. "They don't understand," she said. "The child's power isn't just energy. It's connected to memory, emotion, and something deeper." Rourke nodded. "I saw that on Velner 9, the memory orb, the old war." Nira looked serious. "The Empire fears what it cannot control. They see Thierry as a threat and a weapon." Rourke clenched his fists. "Then we have to protect them." That night, Rourke stayed by Thierry's side. The child's eyes flickered open. "Will they take me away?" "Not if I can stop them." Thierry looked at him. "You risked everything for me." Rourke smiled faintly. "Because you're not just a kid, you're hope." Suddenly, alarms blared through the facility. "Security breach," a voice announced. Rourke jumped up and grabbed his weapon. Outside, chaos reigned. Soldiers ran through the halls. The emergency lights cast red shadows. "Where's Thierry?" Rourke shouted. They found the child's room empty. The door was forced open. Rourke's heart pounded. "They took them." He followed the trailer. Path of broken glass and smeared footprints leading to the launch bay. There, a small ship waited, engines already running. "Stop!" Rourke yelled. "You can't take them like this." Two soldiers turned. "Orders from the Council. The child is to be relocated." Rourke didn't hesitate. He charged forward, tackling one soldier to the ground. "Run, Thierry!" he shouted, but Thierry stood frozen. Then, something changed. The child's body glowed brighter than ever before, golden light bursting like the sun. The soldiers stepped back, shielding their eyes. "Enough!" A commanding voice rang out from the shadows. "Commander." Voss appeared, calm but angry. "Captain Rourke," he said, "you underestimate the power you're dealing with." Thierry's glow dimmed. Voss smiled. "You have proven your strength and loyalty. But this is bigger than any one of us." He turned to the soldiers. "Stand down." Rourke helped Thierry to their feet. "What now?" Voss looked out at the stars. "We study the child. We prepare for war." Rourke clenched his fists. "Then we fight. Together." Thierry nodded. "I am ready." Outside the tower, the Empire's fleets moved quietly, watching, waiting for what no one yet knew. But somewhere deep inside, a fire burned. A fire born of hope. Of humans who refused to bow, of an alien child who carried the light, and a captain who would never stop fighting. The cold metallic walls of the Empire's research facility echoed with quiet footsteps. Captain Rourke walked slowly beside Thierry, who was still weak but showing signs of strength. They were led down a long corridor to a secure chamber where the Empire's highest officials waited. Rourke's eyes narrowed as Commander Voss stepped forward. "Today," Voss said, "we reveal the truth behind the Fogborn and why this child is so important." Thierry looked up, their large eyes shining. Hologram flickered to life above the chamber. It showed an ancient battlefield, warriors and monsters locked in fierce combat. "These are the Shalkar," Voss explained. "An ancient species thought extinct. The Fogborn are their lost creations, weapons turned wild and deadly." Rourke frowned. "So the monsters aren't natural?" "No," Voss said. "They were created to destroy our enemies but went out of control. The Shalkar vanished after that war, leaving behind only destruction." Thierry whispered, "My people once fought the Shalkar." Voss nodded. "Which makes your survival and your powers unique." Suddenly the doors opened. A tall figure entered, cloaked, with eyes like burning embers. "Admiral Kale," Voss introduced. Kale's voice was calm but powerful. "I've been watching, the humans and the child. Your defiance has cost lives." Rourke stepped forward. "We protect what's right." Kale smiled thinly. "And yet, you run toward danger instead of away. Why? Because fear doesn't rule us," Rourke said firmly. Kale studied Thierry. "Your light. It's not just energy, it carries memories. Old power." Thierry's eyes flashed. "Yes, the power to protect." "Perhaps," Kale said. "We are not so different." Voss raised an eyebrow. "Explain." Kale looked at Rourke. "I was once a commander of the Shalkar army." Rourke's breath caught. "You fought my people," Kale said quietly. "But I don't want to repeat that war. The Fogborn threaten all of us." Rourke shook his head. "Then why didn't you warn us?" Kale's eyes burned. "Because I was trapped, sealed in stasis for centuries. Now I am free, and I seek peace." Thierry stood. "Can you help us?" Kale nodded. "I can teach you how to control the light, how to fight the Fogborn." Suddenly, alarm sounded. "Intruders!" A guard shouted. The chamber doors shook. Soldiers poured in, armed and ready. Kale raised his hand. "Wait!" He turned to the soldiers. "They are our allies." Rourke frowned. "Allies? Who?" Kale pointed to a hidden panel. The wall slid open, revealing a group of prisoners, humans and aliens alike, captured by the Empire for questioning. Rourke's heart raced. "Why hold them?" "Because fear makes enemies," Kale said. "But now it's time for trust." The soldiers lowered their weapons. Thierry stepped forward. "We fight together, or we all fall." Voss clenched his fists but said nothing. The alarms stopped. Kale looked at Rourke. "I will train you." "And I will protect Thierry," Rourke said. Together, they began planning. Outside, the shadows of the Fogborn stretched longer. The storm was coming, but inside, a new alliance was born. The enemy had become the ally, and hope burned brighter than ever. Captain Rourke stood in the command center of Earth's space fleet, staring at the massive holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots blinked along the outer border, signs of fog-borne activity growing near known systems. The threat was no longer distant. It was at their doorstep. Beside him, Tiri watched silently, their glow steady but calm. The child had grown stronger over weeks of training with Admiral Kale. Their bond was deepening. And with it, hope. A voice broke the silence. "Captain, the Council has authorized a full response. Fleet ships are mobilizing." Rourke nodded. "Good. We need every ship ready." Suddenly, alarms blared. The room's lights flickered. "Incoming transmission from the Empire Command," a technician said. Rourke stepped forward as the hologram flickered to life. Commander Voss appeared, stern and sharp. "Captain Rourke, your actions are causing unrest. The Empire demands you cease all operations." Rourke met the gaze. "The Fogborn don't care about your politics. We fight for survival." Voss's eyes hardened. "You risk starting a war within the Empire itself." Tiri spoke quietly. "We risk nothing by standing together." Rourke added, "If we wait, we lose everything." The transmission ended. Kale's voice came from behind. "The Empire is divided. Some want peace, others want control." Rourke turned. "Then we'll show them the way." The fleet launched. Ships of all sizes and species formed a tight line, heading toward the border systems where the Fogborn had struck first. On the bridge, Rourke stood beside Tiri. "Ready?" he asked. The child nodded. "I'm ready." As they approached the enemy territory, sensors detected movement. Massive shapes moved through the void. Fogborn ships, shadow-like and silent. "Enemy fleet," the pilot said. "They're faster than expected." Rourke gripped the rail. "Prepare for battle." Suddenly, Tiri's glow intensified. A bright wave of light pulsed from their hands, reaching into space. The Fogborn ships hesitated. Kale's voice came over comms. "The child's power disrupts their connection." Rourke smiled. "Use that to our advantage." The fleet surged forward. Lasers cut through the dark, hitting Fogborn vessels. Explosions lit the void, but the enemy adapted quickly. One Fogborn ship fired a massive beam, cutting through a human cruiser. "Shields down." The crew shouted. Rourke ordered, "Fall back. Protect the child." Tiri closed their eyes and sang softly in their language. The ship around them shimmered with golden light. The beam bent away, harmlessly into space. "Unbelievable," the pilot breathed. Rourke turned to Tiri. "You did that." Tiri smiled weakly. "Together." The battle raged for hours. Losses were heavy on both sides, but slowly, the tide turned. The Empire's scattered fleets began to join the fight. Inspired by Rourke's courage, the Fogborn retreated. On the command bridge, cheers erupted. Rourke looked at Tiri. "This is just the beginning." The child nodded. "But Earth has answered." Later, in a quiet moment, Rourke spoke with Admiral Kale. "The Empire will not stay divided for long," Kale said. "Then we make sure the next message they hear is from humans who fight with heart." Rourke glanced out at the stars. "For the first time, I believe we might win." Tiri's voice was soft but strong. "Because we fight together." Outside, the galaxy watched as Earth stood tall, a new force rising, a new hope shining bright. Captain Darrell Rourke stood on the bridge of the flagship Valiant, looking out at the stars. The battle with the Fogborn was far from over, but Earth's forces had grown stronger. The alien child, Tiri, now a symbol of hope, stood beside him. Their light shone steady, no longer weak or flickering. Suddenly, the ship's sensors blinked red. "Sir, unknown fleet approaching fast," the pilot said, voice tense. Rourke frowned. "Show me." The view screen revealed a massive armada, ships bristling with weapons, engines roaring through space. Not Fogborn, Tiri said quietly. This is the Shalkar, the ancient enemy. The creators of the Fogborn. Rourke tightened his grip on the rail. They never left. The comms crackled. A voice boomed through the ship. Humans and aliens, your defiance ends now. Surrender the child and prepare to be destroyed. Rourke's eyes burned with determination. We don't surrender. Tiri stepped forward. They think we are weak because we are new. But we are not weak. We are human. The fleet's weapons powered up. The battle was about to begin. Explosions lit space as the two forces clashed. The Valiant shook under heavy fire. Rourke ordered, "Keep the shields up. Protect Tiri at all costs." Tiri closed their eyes and reached out. A golden wave rippled from them, blocking enemy blasts and healing damage to the ship. "Your power grows," Kale said over comms. "But they will not stop," Rourke nodded. "Then we show them why humans fight." He grabbed the ship's main control and engaged the experimental weapon, the Firestorm Cannon, a device built from human and alien tech, charging weapon. The engineer announced that the enemy fleet closed in. Rourke took a deep breath. Fire! A beam of pure energy burst from the Valiant, cutting through enemy ships like a scythe. Ships exploded in fiery bursts. But the Shalkar pressed on, their numbers overwhelming. Suddenly, Tiri screamed. Rourke turned. "What is it?" "The Fogborn," Tiri said. "They're returning, controlled by the Shalkar." The space around them darkened as fog-like creatures swarmed. Rourke's heart sank. "Hold the line!" He shouted. The crew fought fiercely. Tiri's light pushed back the Fogborn, but the enemy was relentless. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the ship. "Rourke!" "Tiri, we have reinforcements." From the distance, a fleet of human ships appeared, Earth's allies, arriving just in time. The new ships joined the fight, their weapons blazing. The tide turned. The Shalkar and Fogborn faltered under the combined assault. Finally, the enemy fleet broke and fled into the darkness. Rourke wiped sweat from his brow. Tiri smiled weakly. "We did it." Rourke looked at the child. "You showed them what it means to be human. Not weak, but strong." Tiri nodded. "Because we fight with heart." As the fleets regrouped, Earth's message was clear. They would not bow. They would not break. Humanity was a force born from struggle, hope and fire. And now, the galaxy knew it, no longer weak, but human.